This is this again this morning. After she has stood still in the middle of all of this questioning, this mind attack, and then she surrenders it. How is it surrendered? She surrenders it because she actually says to herself, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write this all out, I'm going to look through it, and I'm going to send it to Rishi for questioning tomorrow. This is the release. This is the recognition. I don't need to do this on my own. I'm going to surrender this to the divine. I'm going to surrender this to the satsang. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to say, this is what is happening. And I'm going to ask for some help in some way. To recognize this about ourselves when we are in difficulty, and to turn to the divine, to turn to Bhagavan, to turn whatever it is for you, whether it's a saint, a sage, or a Nachala, or just this recognition of the Supreme, and to say, I put this at your feet. I cannot do this on my own. You take this. This is surrender. This is the path of bhakta, of bhakti yoga. You take care of this. I put everything at your feet and I surrender. I will do whatever is required here. This is standing in the turmoil of our own minds and saying, this is yours. You do it. This, in a way, takes off some pressure that can come for some people, you may have experienced this, who are on the path of wisdom or jhana. Jhana says, I am going to persistently keep after this. Who am I? Who am I? What is aware here? Who am I? Who am I? I'm going to do this 700 times a day, as Annamalai Swami once said. I'm going to do this 700 times a day, and I'm just going to keep doing it. This kind of pressure, as she indicates in her message, this is sometimes, for some people, cannot be very helpful in the midst of this great turmoil. So then the mind literally collapses. There's this complete sense of failure. But with that comes the recognition that at your feet, I lay everything. I cannot do this. Arunachala, I give this to you. Bhagavan, I give this to you. Whatever that is for you. Ma, I give this to you. Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, I give this to you. Rishiji, I give this to you. Mujiji, I give this to you. Take care of it. Take care of it. And this is what happens. She writes this morning. Oops, I lost it. Hang on. I don't understand how things are working now. But at the end of the day, I got all of the answers from you. This is a capital Y-O-U, meaning from the Supreme. I got all of the answers from you. Also meaning that she stood within the crisis that she was facing. She completely collapsed her ego, surrendered everything. And in that came the peace of being and the recognition that even though I may not understand what happened, in this surrendering, I have found some peace for this moment. This is beautiful. This is, I have gotten all the answers from you and from Bhagavan. I will remain persistent, doing the inquiry. So you see, from this surrender comes the energy and the recognition to keep on with the inquiry. So first there is this collapsing that says, I cannot ask who I am one more time. There's this sense of failure, this sense of, I cannot do this. I give everything to the Lord. This creates the space where the vichara, the question, who am I? What is aware here? Can now enter again in a more natural way without all that pressure. She says, I will remain persistent doing the inquiry and just sitting at the feet of Arunachala in my heart. This is so beautiful, isn't it? After all of this turmoil, all of this disturbance, this surrender leads her to this place where she says, I just am here, sitting at the feet of the Lord in this moment. I don't know what else to do, so this is what I will do. So when, going back to her first question, she asks, what is the nature of this process? This is it. All of her questions, all of her comments, all of my comments, leading to this moment where there is enough surrender that she can put everything down, sit at the feet of the Lord and say, I am yours. And from that comes this peace. She says, some fire, some kindness, and some compassion happened and redirected me to the path. When life is uncertain and life circumstances are hard and big fear comes up and stays for a long time, it's easy to get lost, to lose one's clarity and one's faith, especially when the feeling comes that I am totally alone or not safe. But now I have found the remedy for that. Beautiful, eh? This is so beautiful. So inherent in your questioning, in your searching, in your seeking, is the answer that you have been looking for all along. But it only comes when you stop. Sometimes you stop out of some wisdom notion. I need to stop. Other times, you are just beaten up by a mind attack until you have no option but to surrender everything about your personal story of me and mine, about ego, into whatever you conceive the divine to be. And in doing so, in being willing to fail like this over and over and over, to have your practice fail over and over, to come to nothing, to a complete sense of emptiness, this level of surrender opens the doorway to your own innate heart wisdom. And whether you understand it or not, you come to this place, as she has, of the recognition that through the fire, through the difficulty, through the upset, through the emotion, through the struggle, something new is understood. And over time, the mind will catch up to whatever the heart has understood. And your faith will come back. And then you will once again ask, what is aware here? Who is it that seemed to go through this whole cycle of up and down? And you will continue on until everything stops and you recognize that which is aware is here now.